It's 5:30 on a May afternoon in 1977. Miriam Lewin, a 19-year-old student activist, is at a bus stop on a busy intersection on her way home. Suddenly, she finds herself surrounded by a group of armed men.
They shouted, "Police, police," and they jumped over me. And I had a cyanide pill in my pocket. I tried to swallow it, but it was impossible. They choked me and beat me up, and they had lots of guns. And I cried my name and my parents' phone number. A guy tried to help me. He jumped from a bus and tried to help me, but he was rapidly sent away by these guys with guns.
The guys with guns were members of the intelligence service of the Argentine Air Force. They took Miriam to a house in a residential street in central Buenos Aires.
I was kept here in this tiny cell for 10.5 months. I could listen to torture almost every day. They kept a radio on. There was another cell over there. Usually they kept another prisoner over there. I could listen to the guards interrogating them. And I paid attention because I wanted to know who they were, where they came from. They were mostly students. I could listen to noises from the surrounding buildings, other apartments. Right on the other side of the wall of the cell, there was this apartment where a family with children lived. And I could listen to birthday parties, birthday songs, laughs, a TV set. So that there was life going on in the rest of the city while they were taking in people in cars through that garage door into the torture room. And they usually used electric shock to torture people. So it was amazing that we were in downtown Buenos Aires and nobody knew we were kept here.
Do you think that the neighbours did know?
It was impossible for them not to know, but I realized they may have been afraid of talking.
Miriam was kept in complete isolation for almost a year and saw no one except her captors during that time. She says her active imagination helped her survive.
It's surprising when you realize that you can be strong, you can survive terrible situations. I used to pretend I was remodeling in my mind my grandmother's home. As a little girl, I always fancied that in the roof, in an area of my grandmother's home, which was an old house, I was going to build a tiny apartment for myself. And I started remodeling in my mind that house. Also, I heard the radio. I listened to radio programs. They would play tangos in the radio, and listening to the music kept me, I would say, thinking other things, not just death.
Sometimes her warders would take pity on her and let her join them in their common room.
Once or twice they took me here to stay with them and watch TV. At that time, they let me lift my blindfold, and I was surprised because most of them looked just like me. They didn't respond to the stereotype we had of military people. Most of them looked like college students with glasses, blue jeans, They look like my friends. I asked them, how come you look like us? And they told me, if we want to catch you, we have to look like you.
Then, in March 1978, Miriam was bundled into the boot of a car and taken to the Navy Mechanics School, known as ESMA. Around 5,000 prisoners passed through its gates. Most were killed, thrown drugged and alive from planes into the sea.
There was a prisoner that had escaped. His name was Domingo Macho. When they recaptured him and killed him, they displayed the corpse, his body, in the back of a truck, and they took every prisoner downstairs to the parking lot in order to see what had happened to the one prisoner who there escaped from the ESMA. I wasn't taken because I didn't know Domingo, but I watched the whole scene from upstairs, from a window, and I couldn't see his body, but I could see the faces of my friends watching his body, and it was very scary. It was terrible.
Miriam, an able linguist and writer, was forced to work, translating and writing propaganda for one of the leading members of the military junta, Admiral Emilio Macera. By pretending she was a reformed character, she was sometimes allowed contact with other female prisoners.
There were many pregnant women kept at the ESMA. They gave birth, but before that, they prepared a letter to their families. Some of them wrote it to their mothers and fathers, some of them to their in-laws, telling them to take good care of the newborn till they could join the baby. And it was very moving to see how they prepared their tiny clothing, and they wrote the letters, and some of them drew flowers in the letters and prepared very carefully the envelope and prepared a box for their families. We didn't even imagine that those babies were not going to their biological families. We couldn't even imagine that.
Around 500 babies were reported to have been taken by the military and given not to their grandparents, but to officers and supporters of the military government. Miriam was one of the few prisoners to be released from ESMA. When the trials against the military started in 1985, she was one of the first to give evidence.